Hey y'all, this is Rich. Just wanted to start the video with a few housekeeping items. First off, I do apologize for the lateness of the video this week. It's my intentions to have a lighter week for you. I kind of laid it on heavy at the beginning with the assignments, doing a lot of searching, writing, questions, test quizzes, that kind of thing. So I figure I'd give you a little bit of a breather this week because I know you all have other classes that you're contending with and probably have some starting to move into your heavier assignments. So we'll take a little bit of a break this week with this video and this piece on time management and life management, balancing your life. Um, I do appreciate those of you who have sent in your items. I know there was some confusion on a few of those items that I'd ask you to write on. The intent behind the assignments was for you to access the webpage, look through it, see what we had to offer, and let us know what we can do for you um, in an online capacity, in a distance learner capacity, to see how we can better serve you, the student. That's what is, and I believe it or not, I will take this information to those who have the power to make the change, so that we can ensure that you are getting the services you need. Um, I've met a few of you already, and it's been nice to see you. And for any of those others who are on campus, feel free to come by my office. I'm happy to talk, or if you need some help. Don't forget, you do have a paper due towards the end as part of it's a chunk of your grade at the end of the semester. The parameters are in the syllabus, and if you have any questions on it, let me know. And if you need help with your paper, the Student Success Center does have, as you all learned, a writing center that you can submit your paper to, and they will critique it and help you on that as well. Don't forget MLA or APA referencing, and the citation page does not count as part of your required pages. So 3 to 5 pages. So it's not too bad, right? Um, anyway, let's go ahead and move into the assignment this week: time management, life management. And what I'm going to ask you to do today is we'll go through the PowerPoint, so you all follow along with me. As I say, click, and then a new item will pop up, and then we'll discuss those discussion points, and then we'll keep moving forward. Um, but at the conclusion of this, I put a discussion forum up for this week. And what I want y'all to do is discuss amongst yourself some points about this lecture. And as we go through, I might say this might be a good discussion point, and that way you guys can determine if you wanted to talk about that. But I'm leaving it totally up to you. This is your week to do what you want as far as discussion goes on the topics that we're going to be discussing today. Okay, so I hope um, that you have uh, the um, the PowerPoint up right now. And what I'm going to do, if you don't, I'm going to give you a minute to get it up, and we will start. And I'll say go, and then just click onto your first page there, and we will go from there. So let me give you a second. I'm going to take a drink here because my mouth gets dry. Now, this is the first time I've done a video class, and I thought this might be a little bit better than just seeing a bunch of text. Maybe we can hopefully it keeps you somewhat engaged. And feel free to feel free to email me any questions that come up during the discussion, um, so that I can answer. Of course, give me time to answer. By the way, too, I am grading right now. As you know, there's a lot of things to grade, so I'm in the process of that. If you have not heard back from on any of your assignments yet, I am working on them, so be patient. I just want you to know that. Okay. All right. So right now you should have your PowerPoint up. It should be on the front page saying time management. So what I want you to go ahead and click it to the first page, and It should have a quote there from Socrates, know thyself. And what I want to ask you to do is think about that phrase. Some of you might have heard that before, some of you might not. What does that mean, know thyself? And think about how it impacts me. How do I know myself? How know what my abilities are, my capabilities? How can I, know my limitations? These are what Socrates is referring to, is who am I? What kind of person am I? And what am I able to do or not able to do? So think of it as we're going through all this. Keep that in the back of your mind. That's why I put that up there, is because it all boils down to who you are and what type of person you are, what drives you, what you value. Okay, what kind of purpose you find in life. So go ahead and click again. Right now, it should come up a line that says, "What type am I?" And I put type in quotations because we're going to talk just briefly about, from a psychological standpoint, the types. Am I an A or B or C type of person? Am I a go getter, or am I a type of person that kind of just lays back, procrastinates, or somewhere in between? Personally, I'm kind of an in between person. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. Go ahead and click again. How do I define success? This is important because, this is the whole point of you being in school, right? Is being successful. You want to be successful. You want to leave here with a degree that's going to help hopefully find you a good paying job, which will change the quality of your life. And then what you can do with that, or where you go from there, you know, is dependent on how you determine success. So we're going to talk about success a bit and what you define as success, because this is all part of how we move forward and balancing life and work. I know you're thinking, how does this do with it? Trust me, it'll all tie together at the end. All right, go ahead and click again. What do I value? Now, this is an important thing because this is going to talk about priorities. How do we value things? So go ahead and click again. What is my purpose? What drives me? What direction am I going in? So what is my purpose? These are all the items we're going to be talking about throughout this PowerPoint. Click again. What is the big picture? Now we've heard that big picture, that metaphor all the time. What is the big picture? The big picture for me might be different from you, but that's something you got to ask yourself. You know, you're going to school for a reason, a means to an end. What's my big picture? What is my end? So, or how does this go impact the other items within that picture? So these are things that you have to consider. Um, Also, go ahead and click again. How do I see myself? Um, Again, that I refer back to know thyself. How do I see myself? Think, just take some time to think about what kind of person am I? How am I ambitious? Am I a good person? Do I have good character? Am I a family person? Am I a good friend, a good husband, wife, sister, brother? Son, daughter. Think about that. How do I see myself? And then also that, you know, how do I see myself in the future? Going through these programs, how do I see myself in whatever role I want myself to be in the future? So those are something to think about as well. Go ahead and click. Comes up again. It says, "How is my attitude?" Now, attitude drives, right? I mean, you got to be positive. It's hard. It's hard to be positive. Trust me, I understand that. But believe it or not, a positive attitude can take you so far. And you got to in that belief in yourself. So that's something to consider. That's a factor that is important, that drives you, that leads to success. And then go ahead and click, and this should be your last item. How do I make choices? Now, This we'll talk more in detail as we go in, but those other qualities that we just talked about will lead to this end result. How do I make choices? Because it's how we make the choices directly reflects on the type of person we are, right? So those are the things I want you to consider as, or these are the topics that we're going to be discussing as we go through this discussion today. Um, so go ahead and click again, and it should bring up the start of the PowerPoint. What type am I? Our first point, our first topic point. As I stated, we're just going to briefly cover this because I don't want to go heavy into the science, the psychological stuff. Um, if you want to take it upon yourself to do this and do some of these, I have some web pages here, as you can see. Oh, sorry, click. They'll come up each one. I keep forgetting. Go ahead and click. You'll have one that says the ABC personality types. And go ahead and then you should have the Young typology. Now, these are web pages you can go to take these different things or these different types of instruments that will determine, what type of person am I? What are my characteristics, my traits? Which way do I lean, kind of thing. Um, you've all heard type A, type B, type C, type persons, right? Those personality tests. What kind of personality? Am I an A person? And am I aggressive, a go getter? No holds bar. I work, 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 no matter what. Or am I more like a CD person where I'm just more laid back and take it easy and not so ambitious. Or B person, I'm kind of like in between there, between those. So I encourage you to take a look at that and see. I mean, it's kind of interesting to find out now. Does this mean that's the way you are all the time? No. I mean, do it this time and see, and then at the end of this class, or maybe after you finish your degree, go back and see it, and then do it again. I mean, because as we're going to talk before, uh, and personality traits, um, they change. They can change. All right. Young typology, again, Carl Jung. He was a student of Sigmund Freud, and he has done a lot on human metrics. And so I suggest that you take a look at that. It's just another instrument in which the typology in which you can determine what type of person you are based on Jung. These are just two different uh, psychological instruments to determine that. Go ahead and click again, and then it says, as you see there, it says the human personality is too complex to be described in terms of one theory. Okay, so looking back at these, just because the Young typology says you're this way doesn't mean that that's the way you always are. Like I was saying earlier, you're very complex. I'm going to use the analogy of the onion. You all know that, the many layers of the onion. There are many things that drive you. There's many things that cause certain types of characteristics or traits to come out in you. Um, Personal events that happen, might be something with your family. You react to situations a little differently than you might react to the something that happens to like a coworker, somebody who's more like an acquaintance. You still may have same sympathy, but you might not react as empathetically as you would if it was some family member, because of the closeness you are with them. Um, the way you may react to situations at work um, may or will differ than the way you handle situations at home or at school. So, and they could be very similar, but it's just the way you deal with it. At work, you may tend to be more diplomatic and tactful in how you handle a situation, whereas at home, you might be more vocal and and more outgoing in your emoting, if you will, um, because you have to. There are certain ways that the expectation at work differs than the expectation at home, and at home you can be more you. Well, not, I take that back. You can. It's not that it's you. It's just you might have more freedom to act a certain way than you would at work. You see what I'm saying? So your personalities could change in that aspect, or the way you handle situations in that aspect. I'm not saying that you're bad at home and good at work. That's not the case. It's just it may differ. Okay. Go ahead and click again. Um, Personality traits can change, like I said. These are, um, I know my personality as I grew up. I mean, I've changed, in the way I approach issues. That comes with experience and time. It's not necessarily. I don't equate it to age. I don't ever, just because you're an older person doesn't mean you're a wiser person. I think a wise person, I think that comes from experience. I think it comes from um, uh, personal interactions, knowledge. These are things that help you become more wiser in how you handle situations, and also your personality develops. Um, as you grow as a person. When I was 18 years old, my personality is a lot different than it is now. Back then, I was young and full of fun, running around and just having a good time. And um, um, I didn't really have a path set for myself, I should say. And so, it was different. To where even just a few years later in my life, then I was, as I grew and I started going to school and learning things, matured a bit, and I started seeing, I had some direction. I wanted to move forward. I knew how to handle things differently. And it wasn't that I was that much older. It was just I had some experience, some life experiences. I've had some knowledge. I was I worked more professionally, so I was able to take that experience and apply it to how into my personality. So these are things that you got to realize that that can change someone's personality. Go ahead and click again. Now, there are causes for personality. You know, Unfortunately, any traumatic situation, um, you know, could be anxious or depressed. Um, you can be very aggressive, um, and there could be causes from that. Anger and depression could come from, um, um, a death or an injury or something of that nature, something that has affected you in a traumatic way in your life. Um, uh, Same thing with being anxious. Um, these are things that can impact your personality, and how you portray yourself to others. Um, so it's not always. I mean, it's not always that your personality is inherent. Go ahead and click again, because it says personality traits are not inherited. So our personalities aren't these innate qualities that we are born with, and that's what we're always going to have. I mean, Lord knows. I mean, I love my father, but as he gets older, he becomes more cantankerous, and I hope the heck I don't get that way. But but he's a great man, and there's a lot of his personality trait that I learned, and I hope I inherited. You know, not genetically, but just through the experience being with him. But there are parts of his personality that I hope I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So the way you see your personalities are influenced by external and some intrinsic qualities as well. And we'll discuss more as we go along. All right. Um, this What type am I? If any of you do the uh, go on in the web pages, or if you find any other ones, I mean, feel free to type in a personality type instruments or something like that. You could do other ones too. I don't even know if these are still. Hopefully, these are still alive, or these are still live pages. Um, but I would suggest to go in and check them out, see if they're online. This might be a good discussion topic for you guys on the forum. What kind of person am I? Hey guys, I'm a type A. This it's kind of funny because of this. So just think of that. That something you might want to talk about. All right, go ahead and click again. Go on to the next page. I'm gonna grab a drink again. Excuse me. Thinking positively. Now, remember I was talking about being positive attitude. This is essential as you part of your um, when you start looking at being successful as far as you look at balance in life. One of it is you have to be positive. Go ahead and click right there. It says psychologists estimate people have 40,000 thoughts per day. Okay, it's an estimate, as it states. There's really no way to measure every thought. Um, but there's a lot of stuff going on there. So go ahead and click again. And so with all that thinking going on, possibility thinking, that positive possibility, anything's possible type of mentality. That is a way to go in and be successful, to tackle situations that might seem hard. Say, is this possible for me? I know the type of person I am. I know I'm capable of. So I want to set goals. I want to approach things that are possible for me to accomplish. I don't want to set myself up to fail. I mean, that's stuff like here at this college. We don't want you to fail either, because that's why we put all these resources in place so that you will succeed, because we do not want you to fail. So possibility thinking. I always think that, look at situations, or look at your goals that you set up, whatever, and determine if it's something that is possible for you. This is something that I can do. Okay? Go ahead and click. Thinking this way, changing the way you think in a positive, possible way, it can change your life. It can help you be successful because you're moving forward. You're keeping yourself at a level in which you can be productive, you can be engaged, because you're getting excited about this, because you're moving forward, because you're tackling those goals, those possibilities. Click again. Stay positive and retain a possible attitude. So that's hard. It's hard to do. I'm not going to say that this is just something that you're going to overnight. Well, I can do this. I mean, there might be some of you out there that, dang, this is exactly who I am. I am this person. I think this way. And there's some of you who are like, oh, geez, Rich, I love to have that. I love to think this way, but I tell you what, I work full time. I got family. I got kids. I've got schoolwork because I'm trying to change my life, trying to make things better. I don't have any money. I'm struggling right now. Um, car's broken down. This is broken. I can't. How am I get this fixed? So forth, so on. And you're right. It is so hard. It is so hard to think this way when you have all that weight on your shoulders. What you got to do is remember, and we're going to talk more about this as we start looking, is there's ways that we can take some of that weight off. It's not saying that those things are going to go away, because they're not. They're still going to be there. But how you handle those situations, and how you um, same thing, handle the situation, but as you move forward, you're going to learn to prioritize and say, okay, what's my most important thing? How do I handle this? Setting up, managing my time management during the day. These are things that we have to look at. So, excuse me, I got to turn my radio down. So, we, by staying positive and retaining a possible attitude, that means that If you can do that, then you can overcome so much and you can be successful. Go ahead and click again. One of the ways that you can stay positive and to have a possible attitude is to be open-minded. There are solutions to every problem. There are. And sometimes you have to be creative. You have to be creative in how you overcome those obstacles and meet your goals. So that's where that open-mindedness comes in. You have to you have to be creative in the way you think. You have to be open to anything that's positive that comes your way that can help you achieve the goals you've set for yourself. So be open-minded when you approach situations, and look for any and all possible solutions to those problems. And we'll move into, as we start talking about more about the management side, organization side, these are the types of things that you're going to look at and how to overcome certain situations by being open-minded. Go ahead and click again. Reflect on the possibilities and decide on the necessary action. Okay. Again, I was just stating that. Here's my possible paths I can take to solutions, and then here's what actions are going to be needed to accomplish that, and what is going to be the better for me. And if you have a family and children and all that, what's going to be the better for me and my family. Okay. So these are types of things to keep in the back of your mind when you're making decisions. Try to be positive. Try to have that possible attitude. Go ahead and click again. You should have a box set up there. One side of the box, it says thinking negatively, the other thinking positively. Here's just some examples. And this one right here is me every day. There's so much to do, and there is never enough time to do it. My gosh, I don't know how many times I say that a day. That's a negative thing, right? It is. And I said, so instead I should probably say there's always enough time for what is really important. Really important. We're going to talk about this. Prioritizing. Most important, work your way down. That's management. That's how you manage your time. That's how you get things done. Prioritizing, knocking them out, set them up, knocking them down. So the other one, people place too many demands on me. I cannot control my time. Man, I feel like that every day here at this job. I do. I do work so many different things here. It's human nature. You guys probably have the same thing. Kids on you. Oh, I need to go to ball practice. I need to have this. I need to do this assignment. I got, spouses needing this or that. Other family members need this. If you go to church demands. Your job. If you have a job demands. Constantly, you got all this stuff going on. Oh, geez. So it can be overwhelming, and it can weigh you down, and it can affect how you perform in school. Because when you feel so overwhelmed, man, it makes you not want to do a thing. You won't want to do anything. So what you want to do within this scenario, maybe instead of looking at it from that perspective, say, I value my time and I can influence others to respect my needs. What does that mean? Well, here's my time. Here's what my time allows for. And now I've got to communicate, which we're going to talk about, communicate with others and let them know that I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, and these are my schedules when I'm available for you. And I'll just let them know, I want to be there for you, but right now I've got to work on this assignment, or I've got to go to work, or I've got to do this, and then set up schedules to where you can meet those needs, and let people know that you have stuff that you have to do, and you'll avail yourself to them as time permits. Not that you don't care about them or disrespect them. It's just that there's only so much of you that can go around, right? So just remember that. Communicate to others and let them know when is the time that I can have for you, for them, okay? And we're also going to talk about having time for yourself too, because that's an important factor to all this. All right, last one here. I'm busy, but I'm not making a worthwhile contribution. We've seen that often, the busy bee thing. I look busy, I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not really contributing. I'm not really doing anything. I'm just kind of just spinning my wheels type of thing. But by being clear about success, I can make a real difference. Okay, right there. I've defined goals. I've defined a path. So as long as so I've got my benchmarks that say, okay, if I get to this point and I get to this point and I get to this point, then I'm good to go. I've accomplished the goals I've set, or I've met the goals that have been set for me to accomplish. That expectations. So in that aspect, now I feel like I'm doing something. I'm making a difference. I'm contributing either to myself or to the group or organization or whatever it may be. When I've established those goals, I've established the benchmarks to reach those goals. Now, once I've done that, I am in good shape. Okay. Let's go ahead and click, and we're going to the next slide. Question comes up. How do I define success? Click. Money, status, position. Okay, some of you might say, well, if I make a good salary, or I hold this position, or have this status in the community, then I'm successful. I'm a success, and that's fine. I mean, that's no one says that's wrong, but we all might not see that as success. Go ahead and click again. Uh, grade, sports, popularity might be where if I make the best grades, or if I'm the best at any sport I play, or or I'm very popular, amongst my friends, or um, any group or whatever, then I'm successful. Well, that might be true too. I mean, not saying that's bad. I mean, we all want to earn good grades. To me, that's successful. Have good grades, graduate, that's a success to me. But that might not be what, a degree to somebody might not mean success for them. So that's why you got to find out how do you define the success? Go ahead and click again. Some of us might find success through a fulfilled and balanced life. And so that's something that, I think something we all strive for to have a fulfilled and balanced life. It's tough to do. It's extremely tough to do, especially when you've got a lot of demands on you. And I don't, work, family, school, that's a lot. And I know there's many of you that have this. And but trying to find a balance there, not just a balance, but making sure that there's fulfillment in there, making sure that there's quality, that there's substance to that balanced life. So these are things that we're looking for. Go ahead and click the S3 formula or S cube formula. If you don't have three things underneath that, go ahead and click them till you have three items underneath there. Success. S1, success. Begin criteria of what success means to you. That means, okay, what is success? What am I going to say is success? Okay, for most of you right now, your degree in the program of study that you're in. Okay, my success, I'm defining it as right now. I mean, you're going to have many successes in your life, by the way. Okay, so this particular success is your college. So I'm saying that my success is my degree. So then we go in and say strategy. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. With the success, after we define it and what it means to me, you also have to have your criteria. Is there certain things? Well, I wanted my degree. I want to have, have a 4.0. I want to have to be part of the honor society and an SGA. These are things that want to do while I'm here. Okay. My strategy, start to form a workable plan to achieve a balance between school and life. All right, now, all right, here's what I got. I have my success. I want my 4.0 degree, honor society, SGA. Now what I'm wanting to do is on top of that, now I've got to figure out how I'm going to achieve that. Well, I've got work, I got kids, and all this. So now what I've got to do is create the strategy of how I'm going to achieve that success, those goals. So, you know, each week I have to earmark a certain amount of time for study, for meetings, for extracurricular activity, that kind of thing for my goal. And then I have to earmark time for work. I have to earmark time for my family, to spend time with my children. So these are things that you have to look at. And guess what? It's okay to write it out. It's perfectly fine. Um, so, well, nowadays, you can get a tablet or a smartphone and lay out a calendar, or you can do it old school on paper, on a calendar somehow, or one of those date books, appointment book type things. Whatever. Lay out a plan. What you're going to do, how you're going to. You've got like for classes this semester. I've got due dates. You know, Mr. Garrett's his paper's due on this date in October. I believe that's when it is. So I got to make sure that I have it all done and submitted to him, the draft by this date. Very good. Okay, so you got that. And I'm gonna work on a paper at this time during these days. All right, there you go. You set up a plan because that's going to allow you to have time to do. Then after I get done with that, then I'm going to be able to go out and play ball with my kids. There you go. See what I'm saying? So what's what you want to do? Work out a schedule. Work out that strategy. How you going to achieve that? Okay. Then your last S is your synergy. Make sure you focus on being a team player, cultivating relationship, and effective communication. Again, you're not going to go through this thing alone. Even if you don't have a family, immediate, you might have parents, siblings that are there for you. Even us here at the college, we're here to help you, and we're part of your team. So it's important to have these relationships. Your instructors, you've got to cultivate relationships with your instructors. You've got to let them know, here's my goals, here's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm here. I'm going to do my best. Be part of the community of discussions, be engaged in class, participate. This is all part of that. And then it's through that's what we call effective communication, being able to communicate to them, letting them know, who you are, what are you doing, and making sure it's relevant to what's going on and how you want to achieve your goals. So these are things that you need to utilize as part of your team. You have instructors. We have our student success center here with tutors, and you have our library here. You have student services counselor there. So, I know that might not seem very personal, but be honest with you, I mean, that's our purpose here, is to help you succeed. So you make those relationships, you cultivate them, and then you communicate and make them work to help you meet your goals. If you have families, you got to make them part of the team. You have to have them there to help you succeed. You're not going to do it by yourself. Nobody does anything by themselves. You can do this, but it's going to take some help from others to get you along, to help you achieve those goals. Go ahead and click again. Success is an attitude, not just a set of achievements or financial gains. Uh, Personally, I think that's right. I think um, it all ties into who you are, your character as a person, your character, um, uh, how you handle situations, um, if what type of person you are, how you give back, that kind of thing. I don't necessarily define success by financial gain. Those are just objects. They don't really um, necessarily define you as a person. They might reflect what type of person you are, but they don't necessarily tell you what type of person or what kind of person you are. Um, Same with the achievements. Um, I'm an instructor. I've got degrees. I've got awards, but I'm also an administrator. I'm a chair. Um, but does that tell you who I am? Does it? Does that? Do you think? Does that say that I'm successful? Um, I feel like I am because these are goals I've set for myself. Others might think, well, he's just an educator, doesn't make any money, or he doesn't have any wealth. Well, that's fine if that's the way you want to determine success. But I also believe, but more importantly, it's your attitude, how you feel about yourself. Are you a positive person? Are you the type of person that's going to give back? Are you a family person, a family man in my case, a family woman? Um, do you are you there for your community? Um, different things like that. But it's how you present yourself and your attitude. How you treat other people. I think that actually would be a good discussion topic in itself. Success. How do I define success? And it'd be kind of fun to see how you all what you all feel is success. Okay, go ahead and click again. Uh, Recognize success as a state of mind. Positive and or go ahead if you don't have three things under there. Go ahead and click them. Positive and fulfilling. Stop chasing false goals and expectation. Focus on what matters to you. Okay. To me, positive, fulfilling. We've been talking about that. So I'm not going to berate that or beat that horse. But let's go to stop chasing false goals and expectations. What does that mean? Well, there might be things that we set up for ourselves thinking that they are important for us, that these are things that do matter, but in fact they don't. They actually could be detrimental. Um, we need to take ourselves out of that situation, start being positive, and direct ourselves to those things that are more positive and fulfilling, those goals that are going to lead to what we define as success. Be it our success could be a position, it could be marriage, it could be children, it could be attaining wealth, whatever we define. But that's what I'm saying is put yourself on the path for that. Stop chasing the things that are going to be detrimental, that aren't going to be good for you, that that aren't going to contribute to that positive and fulfilling life. So that's what I'm saying. What matters to you? Focus on those things that matter to you. Okay. Go ahead and click again. So what are those things that matter to you? What do I value? That should pop up right now. Go ahead and click. Go ahead and click this whole thing, this whole window open. You should have two items with 4 and 3 things under each. And what I want you to do, and this is another discussion topic you guys can talk about. What do I value? So take time to really think about what you value. What kind of son or daughter am I? Student am I? Friend am I? What difference would I like to make in people's lives? You know, do I value being a son and daughter? Daughter? Do I value being a student? Do I truly value my education? By working hard and making good grades? Do I really value friendships? Because so I can, nurture and cultivate them. What kind of differences do I make in people's lives? Am I out? Do I value that? Do I value being a difference? Do I go out there and do I help with charitable events or things like that? Am I a teacher? Or am I a fireman, police officer, EMS? Those that are there. These are things to think. Those things, do I value that? Put your values on the center of your life so you can retain greater. I think I forgot some of that. Oh, greater balance, vision, and happiness. Okay. Put your values at the center of your life so that you can retain greater balance, vision, and happiness. So, by understanding the things that I value, it can help me balance my life because I'll be able to prioritize that balance or through balancing. Um, I have better vision towards my goals, and success, which will lead to my happiness because I would be able to achieve my goals through a positive, fulfilling way, through a possible attitude to find that happiness. And that's going to lead to my personal happiness. Okay. So I want you all to look at that, and I want you to talk a little bit about what I value. Go ahead and click again to the next one. What is my purpose? Go ahead and click. Purpose is what gives you meaning in life and school. Okay. Here's another discussion. What is my purpose? Go ahead and click again. It is something you choose, not find. Okay, so purpose is not, you're not going to go out there on this grand quest and find, your purpose in life. Okay, it's just, uh, it's just, you can't happen. No, well, I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's just, it's not realistic. You've got to be able to go out there and find your purpose from within. You choose that. You choose to say, this is what I want to be my purpose that I focus on. My purpose in life right now is personally is to be a good father, husband, um, educator. Um, these are things that I also am a volunteer firefighter. So I want to be the best firefighter I can be to help others and to help my fellow firefighters. So, that's my purpose is to, always strive to be better at everything I do. That's one of my purposes. So, um, I also teach, I teach culinary classes here at the college. And I want to be better at that. I want to work harder on being a better teacher. I want to be a better chef because I love the creativity it allows me. So I love to make people smile with my food. So that's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I have purpose in. I find purpose in is that cooking. It's been always a dream, and one of my goals in life for me to find happiness, to be successful, is to open up my own restaurant one day. So those are the kind of things that you look at. What is my purpose? Go ahead and click. And like I said, those are things that I chose to do. So what is important to you? What am I most passionate about? I just mentioned my cooking. Um, um, and also my and education. It motivates me. That what motivates you? That pushes, other things. Motorcycle. I ride motorcycles. I love to work on my bike. That motivates me to learn more about my motorcycle. So that's something I want to do. What are my unique talents and strengths? Right there, I recognize myself what I can do. I can cook. I'm a chef. I can cook. My motorcycle, I'm not a great mechanic. I know that. I know what I get. Back to know thyself. I am capable of changing the oil. I am capable of pulling plugs and doing minor work on it. I am not capable of tearing the engine apart and rebuilding it, or doing a full systems diagnostic test. Um, Understanding that limitation, um, this is why I also take my motorcycle tech class that we offer here at college. I take that so that I can learn to be a better mechanic, because that's one of the things that motivates me, because that's something I enjoy. I'm passionate about as well. So those, I know that I have limited talent, but I can get that talent. I can hone that talent through experience and education. So those are kind of things that you've got to do, and that's what you're here for. You're learning. You've got a purpose, whatever purpose that you've determined for yourself, that you've chosen, and then you've determined that what is important to you, what you're passionate about, what's driving you, and and hopefully it's the program of study in which you're in right now, and then that um, um, then that's going to push you to enhance those talents and those skills, and strengthen them as well. So go ahead and click again if you haven't, and pinpoint your purpose so that you have real direction. So here we go. We're going to start into looking at establishing the goals, providing direction based on the purpose that motivates us through um, our passion and what we find that is important. So we're prioritizing. So now we're starting to look at a direction. Which way am I heading? Okay. We're going to start working into time management and life balance. Okay. Um, at this point, I'm going to take a break. Okay. And I'm going to come back to the next slides. So uh, you can go ahead and start up with the next one. I just personally have to take a break, and then we'll move into the next ones. You can go ahead and start them up if you want, or just start them whenever you're ready. All right. See you in a few.